Well, welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me, our sustainability specialist, Phil Grupe.
Hi, Jeremy.
Is that better?
That's great.
Yeah, you don't know, but that may have been our third or fifth take. Regardless, Phil, who cares? You just had to sit there and watch me suffer.
I wasn't counting, yeah.
Wasn't counting six. We've got to pick up. We've got a lot of things going on here. We're going to start with BCycle, and you're like, dude, you guys started with BCycle last time.
We did.
But it's wrapping up for the season.
Cycling is great. BCycle's wrapping up for the season, so I believe December 15th is when the bikes will be removed from the system. So I think we talked about last month that we expanded the network. We've got 14 or 15 stations now in Fitchburg where you can check out these e-bikes and ride them around town. You can, they're the same docks that are in Madison, so you can go between cities, but you've got under a month left, just a couple weeks still before those bikes are removed for the winter, and they'll be put back in place mid-April, I want to say, as the weather warms up.
Are we going to pull some data then and see how it went? I mean, it's sort of early because, some of them, the whole implementation took, all year long and things kept coming online. But do you kind of get to pull some of that data and take a peek?
And we figure it'll take a couple years for the momentum to really build and see what sort of ridership we're going to get at its peak. But we will get data, now that the program is up and running, we're going to get data annually from BCycle, and I'm going to try to get even just some basic ridership numbers every quarter from them. So we did get some numbers before our phase 2 implementation started underway. Hopefully we get another set of data over the winter when we're all kind of in waiting mode and just planning out the next phase of expansion. Don't have those numbers yet, but hopefully.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah.
We'll catch you on that one. All right, turning to probably the thing that's taken up, there's a lot of things that take up your time, but this project's awesome. Sustainability team, you're together, you're ready to rock and roll.
We are. So the sustainability plan process is still going. We're working with Pale Blue Dot on all the baseline documents are done, and we've got them going through just some requested edits that we had in there. But the next stage is part of phase 2 is more of the community engagement. So we've got a survey that's out there that we've been encouraging people to fill out. We also have a planning team that is going to start meeting on December 12th. That's a Tuesday, the second Tuesday of every month for 7-ish months. I don't think we have a firm ending date yet, but either June or July will be the end of it. Mm-hmm. But the second Tuesday evening, 5 or 5:30, depending on the month, we're looking for more people to join us. This planning team is going to help us kind of define sustainability for the city and think about what it means for the city to be sustainable and what are the areas that we want to focus on and what actions do we want to take to target our goals in those areas. So this first meeting will be at the Fitchburg Public Library. After that, most of the meetings are going to be on Zoom. And we're just looking to have a broad representation of the community there, have people participate and let us know what they think either as residents of Fitchburg or as employees or business owners in Fitchburg or just people who happen to be really closely tied into Fitchburg and want to see the city succeed in this area.
If you're curious about the backstory to this, Phil and I have talked about it. You can check out some of our past interviews about the importance of the plan, but check the website for more information as well. Can people still join in on the team?
They can. The first meeting is December 12th. You can join up until, let's say, 5 p.m. on December 12th. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's really specific.
Yeah. Well, that's when the meetings start. So it'd be tough to join after that. But yeah, definitely still taking more applicants. We'd love to have more people to participate.
Fantastic. All right, we got our first snowfall here, making the transition.
We did.
And I was telling you that I haven't used salt in a year. Like I made it the whole last year without using it. And I was like, yes. And then. Yeah. Right away, we had this heavy, wet snow that immediately those temperatures died. Yeah, and trying to get some of those packages delivered without slipping was kind of difficult. So, importance of salt. We kind of talked a little bit about salt-wise and training that was going on, but moving past, recommendations for salting, because there's long-term impacts that it's good to cut back and find other ways.
Yeah.
There's a time and a place, too.
Yeah, this one is near and dear to my heart. I actually, in middle school, my first ever science fair project was looking at the impact of urea, chemical that's found in a lot of these road salts, looking at the impact of urea on grass growth. Turns out it does stunt it if you put it in at high concentrations. But more than that, all of this salt ends up running off into our storm sewers. It gets into streams and creeks. Even when it's in the water that is processed by the Madison Metro Sewerage District, salt is very difficult and expensive to remove from the water. So very frequently, if there's a lot of salt in the water, a lot of that just ends up being passed through to lakes and streams in high concentrations. That even medium-low concentrations at times, that salt can have negative impacts on the ecosystem. So we really do want to make sure that we're only using salt when it's necessary. The same applies to water heaters, but that's not what we're talking about, or to water softeners. Not what we're talking about.
Well,
right
water.
now.
When you're using your water heater and salt, remember they don't go together.
But specifically with road salt, of course, it's important if you've got a lot of slick ice on surfaces you're walking on. You want to make sure that it's safe, particularly if you have any mobility issues. If you're talking about salt is really important to make sure that we have walkable walkways, but there is a line between enough salt to melt the ice to an acceptable level and just really laying it on there, going overboard, and putting way too much salt in the water beyond what's necessary. This is what the SaltWise training is about, is people who are regularly applying this salt, especially in a commercial context, but people who are regularly applying this salt, learning what's an appropriate amount of salt, when are appropriate conditions. There are times when you can get as much out of shoveling, or if it's too cold, there's a temperature below which the salt is no longer effective, and I think it depends on the specific salt product. Definitely look that up. But somewhere in the -5 to -15 degree range, that salt's not even having an impact anymore. So you may as well just lay sand down, because you're just having something that adds a little bit of traction, grippiness. But then when you do put salt down, really try to use as little as you possibly can. If you're filling up, if you're using like a 1 cup measure, that amount can really cover 3 or 4 sidewalk squares. And a lot of people will take that 1 cup measure and use 1 or 2 of those on a single sidewalk square, and they really over apply. So this is something that the city really pushes on hard, and all of Dane County municipalities really push on this, because keeping our water systems in good health is very important. And at the same time, salt costs money. We're all doing our best to save money all the time, and this is one area. Is the more judicious you are with your salt use, the less frequently you have to buy a new bag.
And it is permanent damage to fresh water, right?
It is permanent damage.
It doesn't go away. So once it's polluted, it's over.
Some amount of it will wash in. Eventually it makes its way down to larger rivers and into the ocean. But some amount of it is if you get in a high enough concentration, some amount of it will remain in that water body. If it damages a local fish population, even if that population can recover, it can take some time to get things back to an acceptable level. I would say I haven't looked into it well enough to know for sure if it's permanent or not. It is long lasting for sure.
Absolutely.
And definitely something that we want to try to be conscious of, and just be as responsible as we can.
No, I think it's important to share, and like I said, we're just getting into the season, so
that's right.
Think twice is what I wrote down for a note here when you're going to salt. And SaltWise, just search SaltWise in your favorite web browser. Has some great tips about salting and exactly what Phil had just talked about. And our website has some resources as well. Holiday light recycling going on. I already saw that the bin was full.
Yep. So we have.
That's good, right?
That's fantastic. That's great. We love recycling. It's there in our sequence of, reduce is number one, reuse, repurpose, but recycling is important once you get past that stage rather than throwing things out. We do have a bin in the City Hall lobby for recycling holiday lights. If you've got some old holiday lights they're just not working anymore, I actually had to throw a couple strings in there this year. I bought a budget set, and they lasted 2 years before all of them started burning out, so lesson learned there. But we've got this bin in the lobby, and you can bring your holiday lights in. They will be recycled, disposed of properly, a little bit more environmentally friendly. Have that up throughout December, and I don't remember what date we pull it, somewhere around the new year.
Yeah,
but
I think right before that final week, I think is when it gets pulled. But either way, it's good to keep it around the landfill. That's what we're going for
sure.
Here.
Yep.
All right, if people want to stay up to date on what's going on in the sustainability world, how can they find you?
Oh boy, there are so many good resources. You can find me in City Hall or
You could stop by
All
and visit
right,
Phil
I'll be around.
in person. He'll be signing autographs right next to the recycling bin.
I'll
light
have to
recycling
pay people to take my autograph rather than the other way around.
You're
But
right. I
yeah.
haven't signed one autograph, and I've been doing this a long time.
Well,
Nobody will
we
take
got to
it.
work on that.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't.
You're one of the most well-known faces in Fitchburg.
Yet I'm not.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying. Nobody wants the autograph.
We'll work on it.
Anyways,
You can find me at City Hall.
sustainability-
You can go to the Fitchburg website and look for Green Fitchburg. There's a whole Green Fitchburg page with events and a lot of cool tips on renewable energy, energy efficiency, other sustainability things. I said look anywhere because there's sustainability information all over if you want to look for it. You know, there are organizations that have so much more information that you can get from me. But we do have a Green Fitchburg page on the website, and there's also a Green e-newsletter that I put out every couple of months, so you can go to the city's Notify Me page and sign up to receive those Green Fitchburg alerts that will include that newsletter.
It's good to check in on that, and
Yep,
we'll look
for sure.
forward to checking with you in the new year.